Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst, Great Malabite, Emmanuel Ifeni.
Good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Rufai.
Well, there are people in Lome, Cairo, Anyway, we are happy to be at home.
That's the nature of the job. Some people will go out there, get the news from wherever it is happening.
Yes.
That's why we are Arise News Media, an international news media. Whether the news is in Cairo, Marrakesh, or Lome, we'll always be there to report the news. Even if we have to go to the pyramids in Cairo, we'll do just that. Ojinika.
Where Ojinika will come from this morning again.
So we start today's newspaper review with this day Nigeria's newspaper of record. We start with the story above the masthead. Tinubu secures multi-billion-dollar funding facility for infrastructure development from Islamic Bank. Yes, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the #1 Nigerian diplomat. This time, economic diplomacy has taken him to several capitals of the world. The latest being Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. And he's not coming home empty-handed. The federal government is in the process of securing multi-billion-dollar infrastructure finance facility from the Islamic Development Bank to fund multi-sectoral portfolio of infrastructure projects at the federal and the subnational levels. And of course, according to the report, a statement from Ajaero Nglari, presidential spokesperson, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu met with the IDB Vice President Country Programs in Mecca on Monday to advance the negotiation for this loan deal. Of course, the IDB Vice President Country Program assuring that the $50 billion investment for Africa that will be coming to Africa, Nigeria will receive significant level of that amount. Of course, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu talking about the fact that there is deficit in port facilities, power infrastructure, as well as agro-allied facilities. So when this money comes in, it will be deployed to multiple sectoral projects, as it were. Well, Nigerians will want to know how these monies will be deployed. But the negotiation is still on, but all pointers to the fact that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will have locked this in as facility that will come in to enhance the development of critical infrastructure in the country. Now, another story on the front page of this day, beside the photograph, on the upper photograph, Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria wants federal government to revive policies on paper industry, urges Tinubu to provide succor for suffering Nigerians. Of course, the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria touching on an area that concerns the business of newspapering. Newsprint. The cost of bringing newsprint into the country now is enormous, especially against the backdrop of the value of the naira. But this is a product Nigeria can actually produce here. Remember the Okwiboku paper mill, the Wokwi paper mill industry set up to address the challenge of paper industry, newsprint, and even other paper used for exercise books and printing of books. But somehow, we bungled it as a nation. It is not too late to go back to the drawing board because the raw materials to produce paper are available in Nigeria. So this should be one of the priority areas for the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, drawing the attention of the President to this area, because the foreign exchange we use to import newsprint can be saved if we produce newsprint here in Nigeria. Now, the lead story, NLC, strike not about Ajaero, but against official impunity. Partial compliance recorded across country. Pro-democracy group accuses federal government of stifling opposition labor. Yes, the Nigerian Labour Congress, the TUC, Trade Union Congress, called out the members yesterday for a nationwide strike. And across the country, there were various levels of compliance by different labor bodies. And, of course, the labor coming out to explain to Nigerians why they are on the strike. Well, it's as if we don't know. It was as a result of the pummeling and that brutalization of Joe Ajaero, Nigerian Labour Congress president in Owerri, when he went there to mobilize workers against government non-payment of some workers' salaries. And the government of Imo State saying, oh, we have paid everybody. Anybody who has not been paid must be a ghost workers. And Labour saying, no, not as straightforward as that. These are persons who have worked for the government. They must get paid. But that in itself is a legitimate endeavor of any labor leader. For him to be beaten, attacked the way it happened. And that is what labor is now protesting against. Yes, and they are saying the strike is not just about Ajaero as a person, because Ajaero was not attending a tea party in Owerri. He was there as the labor leader of the Nigerian Labour Congress to advance the cause of workers. Now, whether there is a court injunction, the federal government has been harping on that labor is in contempt of court injunction. Well, we heard Felix Osifo there, the president of the Trade Union Congress, speaking on behalf of labor about their feelings of the injunction. In one breath, he said, they've not been properly served, any injunction. In another breath, saying that, well, they cannot be stifled by injunctions. I don't want to use this adjective. Injunctions are what they are from the courts. Injunctions. Now, the former NLC president, Senator Adams Aliyu Oshomole, waded into this matter. It was nice listening to Adams Oshomole. When you're on the other side, you sound differently. Labor should be focused. Labor should be focused. What does that mean? I can imagine an Oshomole leading protests in the street of Lagos, Aba, or Umuahia, or anywhere, and he is beating blue-black, and he will say, let's be focused.
Never.
And do nothing.
Never.
Well, Adams Aliyu Oshomole, Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, will know where you stand. You are on the other side. So if you sound differently, not a surprise to some of us. Maybe Rufai will be surprised, but I am not. He's on the other side. So what you say it differently this time around. Now, the Punch newspaper also reporting this story. Ajaero's alleged assault. Federal government knocks labor strike records partial compliance. Tinubu not behind attack on Ajaero. Escalating strike nationwide unreasonable. The Attorney General of the Federation saying that for NLC to escalate this strike to a national level is unreasonable. Well, NLC had a one-day strike in Imo last Tuesday, and they threatened to have this nationwide strike. Nobody called them to see how they can meet all their demands and perhaps bring those who are involved in that attack to book or set the process in motion. But now, labor is on strike and it's affecting everybody. Now, the New Telegraph newspaper also reporting this story. Varied compliance as labor cripples activities in some states, sectors. Federal Secretariat, banks open, National Assembly, NMPC Limited office shut in Abuja. Partial success in Lagos as port activities grounded. Schools, hospitals closed in Ogun, Osun, Bauchi, Delta. Workers shun strike in Oyo. Mixed response in Borno. Train services affected as NRC workers comply. Labor unions reply Onanuga, vow further action today. Well, the strike is still on. I think the government should call labor and talk about these issues, and let's see some resolution of the crisis, because labor is on a roll. More unions are joining. Academic staff union of universities have also opted to join the strike. So it is not something you just wave off with the hand, or a statement from the office of the Attorney General of the Federation, and you think it will just end. And people are asking, where is the labor minister? He seems to be missing in action. There are two ministers, a minister and the minister of state for labor. None of them out there to deal with these issues. Now, the Daily Sun newspaper, the story beside the masthead, old new Naira notes remain legal tender, CBN. But in parts of the countries, they are already experiencing shortage of cash. What is happening? This is a new CBN governor. We want clarity of thought so that Nigerians know where we are heading. Old Naira, new Naira, all still in circulation, but there's shortage of cash in some parts of the country. The other day, I was at the filling station to buy fuel. I wanted to use cash, and I saw the scrambling for my cash. And the petrol station manager was going around from one pump to the other, accusing his pump attendant, you have not brought in cash today, you have not brought in cash today, as if they should manufacture cash. Even encouraging people to come with cash because they seem to be doing some business with cash at that level. So CBN need to respond quickly so that we don't have another round of Nigerians buying cash with cash, as we experienced some time ago. Now, the Daily Independent newspaper, labor shutdowns compound risk for Nigeria's economy. Of course, talking about the strike that is ongoing. Now, the story below the photograph, Guba elections, INEC has completely derailed. PDP making that accusation, asked Ajaero to step aside as party national secretary. Well, PDP not satisfied with the performance of INEC. Not many Nigerians are, but INEC can reinvent itself by living up to expectation. They make their rules, they stick to their rules. But what we saw in recent times, INEC that was on upbeat, many Nigerians were happy, but in the last two cycle of elections, of course, some of those confidence blown out of the window. So INEC needs to reinvent itself, and the legislators must take another look at the Electoral Act and see where we still have loopholes and plug them. Now, the Nation newspaper, Oshomole to Ajaero, Osifo, strike is misplaced priority. Yes, I talked about Senator Adams Oshomole a short while ago. Yeah. Now, if we look at the Leadership newspaper, also the lead story, disobedience of court. CSOs, lawyers, call for labor leaders' arrest. Well, Osifo said workers are ready and are ready to be arrested. But the strike is on and we are all feeling it. Daily Trust newspaper, I inherited serious liabilities from my predecessors. Tinubu, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, telling us that he inherited liabilities from his predecessors. Well, that is normal. Government is continuum. It's a continuum. You must continue from where your predecessors stopped. No matter how bad the situation looked like. But if you read in the story, the president also said he inherited assets from his predecessors. So you take the assets, you take the liabilities, and deal with all the problems. That is why we have elected President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and he always say that he is not going to give excuse. He asks for the job, he has the job, he will do the job. As Yorubas will say, Omowashe, Omorishe, Babawashe, Babarishe. That's what we'll just say to the president.
Okay.
Rufa, you are itching to say something.
Yeah, I'm itching to say something. You see, the truth has to be said.
Yes.
We campaign in poetry, we govern in prose. This same government, while campaigning in the last election, said, oh, we'll keep Buhari's legacies. So if he's saying he inherited a lot of liabilities, he shouldn't be saying that to us. He should fix the problem. That's why he got in there. And like you said, government is a continuum. He should be able to fix it. He shouldn't tell us. That's not a way to be able to, because every government will say something was wrong with the last government. We all remembered how Mr. Femi Adesina under Buhari they was writing articles every day saying they were clearing the organ stable of Mr. Jonathan administration. But the same Mr. Jonathan has now turned out to be the hero today. In fact, a former APC governor once said that the last time Nigeria had anything about development was Mr. Jonathan. Two stories real quick. Number one will be, now that we are saying they were having a deficit, it's on the front page of the Telegraph. Where is the money MNPC is making going to? We need to be able to be sincere with ourselves and be able to empirically audit the account of NNPC and ask the question. And secondly, about the shrinkages of civil society space, I think more people should be in the civil society space. The opposition too should be bolstered, like Atiku Abubakar was saying, so that Nigeria doesn't become a one-party state.
If we just look at what the foreign newspaper, the Times of London, reporting, brave man, Prime Minister lied to me and betrayed Britain. Well, Suara Braverman is not just going down. She's fighting back. And this may not just be good for the Conservative Party ahead of the next general election, Robert.
Well, yesterday we talked about how the appointment of David Cameron is likely to lead to rebellion from the right wing of the Conservative Party. And this is what we have seen. You recall that Suara Braverman had said Rishi Sunak should sack her and dare her. And this is her taking a revenge in this blistering letter that she has written to condemn the Prime Minister. He says Rishi Sunak is lacking in qualities that Britain needs at this moment, that his only gift is that of magical thinking, that is uncertain, that is weak.
Some demarketing there.
Yes, and that, he has betrayed the country. And she went further to say that all the things in the manifesto of the party, the part of the people with of the party with the people, that Rishi Sunak has not even shown any understanding. And that when he is reminded on issues like migration and others, he will just not act. But Rishi Sunak also replied and said, look, he believes in actions, not words. But the beauty of it is the beauty of the parliamentary system, where the Prime Minister is first among equals. Yeah. Can you imagine in Nigeria, a president sacking a minister, and then the minister will have the effrontery to come out publicly and be abusing the president? that minister will hear from the security agencies.
So I want to say, you know how many agencies will go after that minister?
The security agencies will squeeze that minister. This is a parliamentary system.
There's something to say about the need for us to go parliamentary.
Anyway, thank you very much.
About the independence of our security agencies.